The next patch for Call of Dragon has been announced. This is going to introduce the Season B2 for Belleron 2, which is going to be called Frozen Fury, and this is the following season for people that are currently in Season T1. So for people who've been playing the games in the beginning, this is going to be the 6th season that we play, and most likely the last season before we finally go into the next map with the new faction and a lot of new content, which is going to be Season 3, which is also going to introduce global migration with home servers. So this is going to be the last season that is the old format before we get the new format introduced. And this introduces the first G3 heroes that are going to be marksmen, as well as a complete rework on how pets work, which is going to be amazing. And you should really be saving some of your pets right from this moment, as it will have a huge impact. So we're going to go right into those notes and go over what is actually important and the biggest changes that this is going to do and what is going to mean for your account. Hey everyone, Zoraz, not casuals. So the first thing I want to talk about is the new seasons policies and season talent. So this is saying that they're going to be brand new season policies. So this is obviously going to be pretty similar to what we're used to. There's going to be boost to healing, boost to reduction of cost for healing, some boost for different unit types, as well as different hospital capacity, all these kind of things. Hopefully we see some changes that are going to help free-to-play have more healing, not less, which we've seen this season. They did add extra healing recently in the last patch without really saying anything about it, but there has been an increase in the hospital capacity. So hopefully it stays similar, as well as we will see if they introduce new turrets or stuff like that. There is really not a lot of exploration here. Of course, this is pretty bare bone, but I don't think it's going to be that much different than what we're used to. Now, season talents, of course, this is a new addition from this season, and it seems like they're going to be keeping them for the next season. Now, from what I can read here, it doesn't seem like it's going to be very different. There is obviously all new paths to battlefield supremacy, so it might be a little bit different. There might be some policies that are not the same. My biggest question is, do we have long-range warfare or not in the next one? That is really one of the most impactful policies or season talent that was really making the game very, very different. Because if it was removed, the meta would change drastically once again. So we'll have to take a look. There is obviously no information about that. Now, the new heroes. This is obviously very interesting because this confirms two things for us. They are following a pretty standard guideline where they go in order. So if you think about the heroes we've had so far, we've had obviously marksmen, which were the first. And then we've had new cav hero, new inf hero, and then new magic heroes, which we just got with Tohar and Bertrand. So this is obviously new marksman again, so similar as Syndrian and Freygar, the first two heroes of the next cycle, which is going to be Generation 3 heroes. Because if we come in our little inventory here, we can see when we press on these buttons here, G1 heroes, these were all the heroes, and then G2 heroes, you can see, obviously, as I said, the first two were archers, the second two were cavs, the next two were inf, and then the last two are mages. Now, they've announced two more, which obviously there's no spot here because there's no unknown token. So it will be a new category, G3. And then these will be the first two heroes, which are marksmen, confirming that there is most likely going to be the same cycle over the next season. So we will see new cav hero next, and then we'll see new infantry heroes towards the end of G3, hopefully. And then the new mage heroes multiple months from now on. So this is a good information because it confirms some of the stuff that we were wondering about. As well as it's really going to be interesting because it will change the meta again drastically. No one can have saved up tokens for these other than the universal. So these will be very sought after, will make strongest load very interesting, and also make the heroes themselves pretty interesting because we don't know if they're going to pair well with Syndrian, with Kinara, with Husk. Is it counterattack? From what we can gather, obviously being marksman and PvP and mobility, this is going to be a hero that is going to be fast and is going to be made for PvP. So all of his abilities are going to be about attack, movement speed, other players. So there is a very good chance that this hero is going to be very powerful. And the next one would be a garrison and precision. So auto attack based hero, kind of like Syndrian, but also garrison, kind of like Tohar. Now, a marksman garrison with cavs the way they are in this game, I don't see this doing ever very well, but I believe that the devs want to have basically a rally and a garrison from all the unit types in the game. So we'll have to see exactly what it entails. Of course, there is really no use garrison in the game currently other than Roots of War, but the Roots of War is going to be something they are working on to expand and make more competitive. same as Ark of Osiris in Rise of Kingdom. So it will have maybe use later. I don't see this is going to be an amazing hero in the open field though. Tohar is still amazing even though he has garrison skills, so we could be pleasantly surprised. For me, I am very excited to see if some of these are going to be create some new combinations that are something more than just Sindri and Freygar. But at the same time, I don't want them to be so much better than Sindri and Freygar that all the previous heroes become kind of irrelevant. So we'll have to see exactly what this looks like, but it is going to be coming sooner than we think, because obviously this is a patch that's happening 1 week from now, which means the new season is probably going to end about 2 weeks from now. And this means that we will have these new heroes probably 2.5 weeks from now. So this is coming very soon, and hopefully we get a bit of a preview and some information beforehand. Now, along with these new heroes, of course, a new artifact that will be most likely very powerful and will be coming from Forge of Light and Witch of the Forest. So the same as usual with new heroes with a new artifact that will go for these heroes specifically. Now, here is one of the biggest and most amazing change in the game. This is exactly what the community has been requesting about the war pets in the game. So it is very, very nice to see how well they have implemented it. Now, this is a bit confusing and we obviously don't have the exact detail of how it works in game, but the way it reads, in my opinion, is you will be able to use skill cards. So the cards you get after buying at the store or when you release a pet, you have these cards in your inventory. You can then use them to increase the talent level or the skill level of any of your war pets. So what this means, in my opinion, is that, for example, pets like this are the best thing to keep, because when you release it, you will get a card for Pain Bloom, for example, and then I can use this card on another pet and make their Pain Bloom go up a level. Now, this would work for any skill, for example, any of these skills. If I wanted to get Angry Roar to a 1-star, I would have to use other Angry Roar cards on this ability or this skill right there. So what it tells us is that you will be wanting to save pets that have skills like this, and obviously 1-star or 0-star, it doesn't matter, as long as they have the skill. You want to keep them in inventory, because when you release them, there is going to be a higher chance, or a 100% chance, I think, to keep the skill, and then you're going to be able to use it to increase the skill of another pet. So for those of you who have used these 3-star abilities and have a pet with a low star skill, well, you will be able to fix them by basically releasing more of these pets and getting the Shadow Hunter skill over and over, and then applying it to this obviously guy. Hopefully it means also can get this to level 3. Now, we don't know if it means you need, like, for example, multiple 2-stars to get this one to the next level, or if you need a ton of 1-star. We're gonna have to find out exactly what this is when it releases. But the one thing to know is that you will be able to release pets and get their skill. If they have no skill, like for example this pet right here, it will give me random skill. If they have only one skill, it will give me that skill. So obviously pets that have only their talent will be very, very sought after, and I would recommend you start saving up on the pets that you want, like I have right now. So the wording really here says you can upgrade the star rating of your war pet skill by applying a skill card. Now, this applies to both talents and common skills, so this kind of confirms that it works for talent. This is amazing if that's how it works. Now, you can obtain talent skill cards by releasing war pet. This is already true, but the difference is that each time you release a war pet, you will receive a skill card for one of that war pet skill. So this is not an option, it is now a for sure, which means, as I said, if you only have a certain skill, what it really seems to be that it will give you that skill because there is no other choice. And then if the pet has no skill, it will be random. So this just confirms to us that this is going to be a very easy way to increase your star levels by just capturing the same pet over and over and getting the skill over and over. Now, on top of that, they've added a lot of other things that make the war pet stuff just easier in general. They've added auto regeneration, saving you time. They've also made it so that you don't have to level up your pets anymore. You can just simply reroll their attributes, but you don't have to level them, which will save a lot of time. There's also no option to attack beasts now. You can only capture war pets, you can't attack war pets, which will help in the open field when you're always attacking the wrong items or the wrong beasts or whatever, and also meaning that you can just capture them now so people can't kill them. You know, it'll be interesting, it'll be better. We'll have to focus on darklings and beasts as separate different entities on the map. There's also improved information display for skills, and you can have a limited number of 1-star spell skill you can buy at the exchange as well. Right now I think it's unlimited, so it'll be limited, I guess. And then other stuff like more capacity for the cards, more capacity for the pets, and also you will get more tokens from basically cleaning your pen instead of petting all the pets every day. So all these kind of like quality of life changes will make the pet system very nice. Now having a lot less RNG involved. If you capture pets for a very long time, you will get 2 and 3 star pets no matter what, which will make this game system much funner in my opinion. I think this is going to be a great change. Hopefully it works the way I think, but from what I can see, it seems to be. So this completely fixes the pet system in my opinion. Now, one of the most amazing quality of life change ever here that some of you might have missed is the command point thing. When you are attacking enemy units, if you fail to defeat them, no command point will be deducted. So this is not that huge, but it is pretty nice. It will prevent you from wasting CP. But really the biggest thing here is this one. Upon entering battle, AoE skills will no longer deal damage to dark forces who are not in combat with you. So it will prevent you from accidentally targeting enemies when you are fighting players, for example, or other darklings. This is going to be amazing for especially PvP, because whenever there's darklings and creatures, we're always like growing them, and then they can kind of ruin the experience a little bit. You have to kill them and it ruins your CP, all that kind of stuff. So now this is a huge fun change to make life a lot easier. Also, simple mode is going to be easier to add, and also on PC. So this will help for obviously lag reasons and being able to look at the game in a much better way. Especially on PC right now, it's either zoomed out or in full mode, which makes it hard to PvP when there's hundreds of marches. So this is going to be very nice addition. And a lot of balance changes are coming to infantry and cavalries, rushing and new talents and stuff like that. So for example, these are going to be for all the infantry unit skills, which is basically that before they were doing counterattack damage, which is half the counterattack damage. This hasn't changed. They're still going to be doing half their counterattack damage to ranged units in the game, but they also have a chance to gain stacks of ironclad, which will make it so that they take less range damage from enemies in general, and this can stack up to 8 times, so up to 40%. And this is something that will apply pretty often. One legion can apply it every 18 seconds, but multiple legions at one time can probably apply it basically instantly. So if 8 legions attack you, well, within a few seconds you will have 40% reduced range damage for 15 seconds. So this is going to be very good for infantry to survive ranged units. This is a huge buff to their survival. So very interesting to see, and it will make infantry even better than they currently are. Now this intrepid talent that was changed is from the archer, basically a precision tree. It is a pretty decent buff. Instead of getting basically 5% crit rate from normal attacks, you now get an 8% crit rate, but for 5 seconds every 8 seconds. So for me, it seems like a pretty nice bonus because the percentage goes a bit higher. And then the joyful labor, this is about the gathering. When you're getting attacked while gathering, your legions become invulnerable and get recalled. So the change here is pretty small. It is just basically that your chance of becoming invulnerable is going to be 100% with the max talent, instead of being 20%, and then the timing is 10 seconds. So this is always 10 seconds, but the percentages goes up instead of the timing going up. So a pretty small change, to be honest, but a really good change, because when you have it at maxable, it means that your miners or your gatherers are invulnerable for 10 seconds, and making them a lot less easy to hit and a lot less annoying to farm when you have this talent on, and makes farm killer's life a lot less fun. This is kind of how it used to be back in the days before they changed it to how it is now. And they're kind of like bringing it back, I guess, because people maybe complain too much about farm killing. Now, another really interesting change is the ice turret. So basically, not to go over all of this, what happened is that the damage is lower, the slow is higher, and now it's AoE. So this is going to be targeting deal diffuse damage to a target and 2 nearby legion, as opposed to just 1 legion, and then inflicts snowstorm. So basically, it will slow for more, and it will attack more enemies at once for a little bit less damage. So the ice tower just becomes much better in my opinion. This is very strong and makes ice tower even better than it was before. Now, other stuff here, like I said, cavalry changes. There are going to be a few new things about the way it works. Now, one of the last massive change in these patch notes is going to be the talent for the cavalry vanguard. So this is a season talent in current season T1, and it is going to be in season B2 as well. So first, the thing that this tells me is that the new season talents are not going to be really new after all. It seems like this is going to be the same exact talent from T1 and B2, which seems like the majority of the season talent might be the same. So we might still have long range warfare and so on. So this is just something to keep in mind. It's my opinion and projection, but from reading this, it seems like we're going to keep the same season talent with maybe a few changes here and there. Currently, the way it works is that your cavalry units, when they launch a unyielding rush, which is basically when they start charging, they were going to have 50% more range and 50% more speed. This is how it works currently, and we have seen a noticeable difference in the game. The range being much bigger means that the cavalry can charge from far apart. It makes it for better rings of frost. It makes it so that they can reach the backline of range units much easier. Now it seems like this has been removed and replaced by something that increases the speed by 20%. So the speed is 30% nerf, and then the range, there is absolutely no increase anymore whatsoever. So this basically makes cavalry back to where they were, which is 90% useless. This is a huge nerf to cavalry in the upcoming season. They were already not the best in the game because of their limitation in the ball fight meta that we have, but this is going to make them even worse. It does boost their attack a little bit. They'll be stronger when they are reaching their target, but they're going to have a lot less range, so their whole long range charge and escaping and moving around is just going to be quite nerfed. So I don't know how I feel about this change. I'm not a big cavalry player anyways. It's mostly just the whales who use the cavalry, but for them it's obviously going to be a pretty big nerf, and for people who are getting like assaulted by cavalry all the time, this is obviously going to be a welcome change. But you know, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Just so you know, if you're planning on going cavalry next season, it is definitely not going to be as good as it was this season. Now, other changes are getting a bit redundant, pretty straightforward, nice quality of life stuff. Again, Behemoth raid no longer have participant limits at normal raid, so you can bring as many people as you want. This is going to be very weird for people racing on servers, because getting the normal down, then you have 4 hours before doing the elite, which means that if you bring 200 members, well, you're obviously getting it down very quickly. So this is very weird and very interesting. I love to see things like that because it makes no sense, and it might add some very interesting ways of doing the game in the next season. Also, there is changes in Dragon Trail, and there's error like text that was changed here, as well as the fragmentation bolt from Craig, like just little issues here and there that made that the display values were not correct and things didn't show properly. As well as improved automatic marching order feature. So we don't know exactly what it means, but probably your unit is going to march in a bit better way, more advanced AI, let's hope. And then improve alliance system. So this is more for people joining alliances, new emojis, dynamic emojis, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of small fluff, very interesting. But really the big change here is how they've completely revamped and fixed the pet system, adding the 2 first G3 heroes, as well as interesting talents and policies discussion. Is it going to be the same? Is it going to be different? What's going to change? We're going to have to see. This is obviously going to be the map of Belleron, so the Ice Frozen Dragon map. But there is, talks of the map having changed quite a bit, which is of course a little bit of a change will be needed. And now let's just hope that they have a better, more balanced map where the different passes have the same amount of time to reach the middle or the dragon area, and that there's less choke points so that we can have actual funner war. So we're gonna have to wait and see and hope for the best. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this kind of video. Let me know what is the biggest change that you are interested in from this patch in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.